This Scrappy quilt block pattern is so simple and great for scrap fabrics. So cut your scrap fabrics, the tutorial is in the description, and then you're going to sew 3 pieces together. So you're going to, and you want to mix it up. You don't want them all the same color because we're going to cut these later on. So just take 3, I use 6 fabrics total, but you can use however many that you have. Okay, this is just so much fun. But you're going to take and just sew the 3 together. And then you're going to take that and you're going to iron those open. Okay, super important to iron this just as you go and before the next step. You're going to want 4 blocks total. And so one set of 3 makes 1 block. So you want 4 of those total. So much fun. Like, you can easily do this. And then the PDF has instructions for a baby quilt, twin size, full queen, king, and a table runner. So it's worth getting the PDF, and there's a ton of photos in there also. So, but just finish up your 3 pieces, and then we're going to have some fun with this. Okay, now you're going to take that iron. We talked about this earlier, but I do this in bulk. So, like, I did all of them, and then I ironed. You may find that you're going to have to straighten up your edges. Just sometimes fabrics shift, and sometimes they just, when you sew them, they just move a little bit. So if that happens, it's not a big deal. We'll just get them all one size when you get finished. And then you're going to take it and you're just going to cut each of that square into a triangle. So you want to go exactly half. One of my tricks is I put it on an exact number and line up my top and my bottom and just use my rotary cutter. Makes it go really fast. And you can see here, this is how I quilt. I'll do all of the same pieces and then I move to the next step. I find it easier, especially when making quilt blocks. So you can see now we've got tons of different options. I can't wait to see what yours looks like. And then this is what it's going to look like when you put it together. So if you want to lay it out and kind of figure out what colors you want to put together, and then you're going to take the long edges of your triangles and go ahead and sew those. Okay, I do like to lay it out just so I know like there's not 2 matched up to each other or the exact 2 triangles and we're remaking it into the same square. Like, just kind of want to mix and match. Okay, and that's what makes it scrappy, is the mixing and the matching. And I mean, you can use as many fabrics as you want. So, but you're going to do this to all 4 squares. You are literally over halfway done if you're just doing a quilt block. And this would be so cute. You could put the stuff in it to make like a large pot holder. So you could put it on your table. You could bind it and just make a mini quilt. So many different options for this. You could make your pieces shorter, and then you could do pot holders, just small pot holders. Okay, we're going to iron again. This just helps it lay flat because you're about to iron, you're about to sew through quite a bit of fabric. Okay, so you can see here, I'm just going in, ironing everything out. I like for it to be laying flat. I know some people are like, it has to go a certain direction. I am not a big in some quilts, yes, but in something like this where you're just doing a quilt block, you don't have to. And sometimes I'll use just a little bit of steam to help those seams stay down. Look how cute this is, though. So cute. Okay, then you're going to cut off those little edges. Just kind of straighten things up. Like I said, your fabric may shift. You're going to have a little bit of a tail. So just cut all that off, and you can just use scissors. And then you're going to sew your squares together, okay? I do one row, and then I take the next two and put that row on the next two. And then I take my rows, and I'm going to sew those together. You can iron. Mine were pretty flat, but if you feel like you need to iron it before you do this part, go ahead and do that, okay? It's totally up to you and what you're comfortable with, okay? I also was not using pins or clips. It really did lay flat, but if you feel like you need those, then absolutely do those. And then look, your quilt block is finished. Isn't that cute?